Hi, everyone. My name is Alexander, and I am author of Android Live channel. And today, my guest is Arnaud Giuliani. Hi, Arnaud.
Hi, Alexander.
Yeah. And first of all, just to write something in chat, can you hear us well, or both of us? And if no, just don't hesitate to tell about all troubles in chat. Yeah, and Arnaud will talk about him a little bit later, but as I know, Arnaud is open source maker, Android developer, Google developer expert, and creator one of the most popular GI framework in Android world called Koin. Exactly, right, Arnaud?
Okay. yeah. So
Everything is clear. Yeah, yeah. Before we will go deep to our question, Arnaud, can you a little bit introduce yourself and maybe tell something about you, maybe, and in addition what I said beforehand? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say I have a background in software engineering globally, like backend. I made many years in backend Java development before diving into the Android development world and focusing only on Android development. And I dive into many ecosystems, and perhaps I think I even wrote some Node.js stuff, but it was really ephemeral things. But I'm mostly a Java developer before being an Android developer, and then became a huge fan of Kotlin. And I began to work on it in 2015. And I was waiting for the first production-ready version before trying to put it everywhere I could then. And then I began to try to spread the word about Kotlin, to say, hey, this is a good thing. Let's see. And finally, I believe the success for Kotlin has been very quick. And it's a good thing for us today.
Yeah, especially in Android world, I guess. Yeah, after all these things related to Java. Yeah. So our listeners, you can ask any questions related to Koin in chat, and we will ask them as quick as possible. And now I have a couple of questions related to it because I'm kind of a fan of your framework because I use it in on all my current projects use Koin, and it's pretty cool framework because it's pretty simple. I don't know, product really nice to use it from. It's really quick start for usage because when I first added Koin to my project and launch it from the documentation, I understand, wow, everything works without any workarounds. Everything is clear. Yeah, and my first question related to Koin is mostly about the idea. How did you decide to create a new DI framework? Because when you started, I think you had Dagger, maybe something else. But anyway, you decided to create your own solution. Why did you think about it, and how did you get this point?
Yeah, the first idea and why I started to write Koin, it's a good thing because finally it's in the continuation of my usage of Kotlin in 2016, making Android apps and trying to get the best of what I was writing about that. And about DI, I mean, like as a Java developer background, I was a huge fan of Spring Framework, and I worked also in many G2E. Today we say JE, Java Enterprise solutions, and then you have containers, you have solution that became quite, I would say, easy with the years. HABs were not easy to use, but in 2016 and 2017, mostly, I was making components and DI by hand. Like you could, I've seen you can still find many articles about dependency injection, in a manual way in Kotlin, and you can still find a good way to write little things super easily. But I was a bit stuck about my stuff. It was a bit simplistic for me. And when you begin to test, to add some things, to add some components, and you begin to have multiple what will became modules, then you need something, a container for that. And Dagger, I'm still completely. It's still a bit hard to use. I mean, like there is an excellent tweet about from Danny Pressler. It's also a GD from Germany, and he says 1 hour of feature development, 2 hours of Dagger configuration. And I believe this is something, that was always making me bored about DI, because DI is super simple. It's just a matter of assembling components, making abstraction. And I was always in the idea to say you shouldn't think about DI in your application, because you just compose the things and that's it. And this is what I was looking for Koin. For Koin, I was looking for something super easy to write, edit, understand, and like many good frameworks, like Spring frameworks, it's super easy just to put your things in configuration, and then you forget that you are making some Spring. And at the moment also there was other DI framework, and there were Dagger, and there was also the other one in Java is I forgot about the name. Another one that is making also code generation. ToSpeak.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ToSpeak was also interesting, but a bit cluttered by the Java paradigms. Then I was looking for something fun to write, and Koin was also too complex for me in terms of syntax. And this is why I begin to write stuff, to test stuff, to challenge me to say, okay, what is the simplest thing I can write? I can let write the other people, because finally it was the challenge for me now. Okay, how I can help people to write things. And I begin to ask friends to make a first blog spot, to say, hey, perhaps this is a silly idea, but if you feel in pain like me with DI, with the frameworks like Dagger, let's try to write something else, and the story begins.
Yeah, cool. Sounds like a story of success, and for something really interesting. Yeah. Well, for now, Koin is open source library, and as I know, you have a page on GitHub where everyone can join and contribute to Koin library. And how many contributors are working on Koin for now? Do you know the exact number?
Koin is I would say you have mainly there is a few only main maintainers. Like I'm the main maintainers for all the time, but you have many other people that get around and help, and there are lots of I would say kind of instant contributors that help to fix something, or that help to contribute on a feature. And there is around 100 contributors if you look at the GitHub at the GitHub website, I believe. And something I finally understand is that the code is not too much complex and kind of easy to understand. I believe I will need, and there is many people asking me for kind of something that help understand the insides and why choosing this or this in terms of design inside Koin. But many people, I I'm kind of sorry because there is no real explanation about the internals in Koin currently, but finally people success to dive in and understand step by step. It's quite easy to debug and understand how you finally resolve your stuff and work with the framework. Because finally you have let's say Koin is a agnostic framework. That means it's something that is completely independent from any platform. And then thanks to the Kotlin extension mechanism, you can extend any runtime you want that is using Kotlin, and then you can bring the Koin container everywhere you want. It's just a matter of bringing Koin context or a Koin context where you want, and then bring the right API for you. And this is why Android platform, for the Android platform, is a matter of good extensions and help write the good things in time. And yeah.
And got it.
There is many, I believe there is more and more projects that rise because we have to catch up the Android library about Compose, about view model, graph navigation, begin to be very, very huge, and it's a bit harder day to day to catch up with everything with the community. But it's a crazy story then.
Yeah, but anyway, it's pretty interesting. We have a couple of questions in chat, but from this kind of short introduction, let's go deeper to Koin as a library. And yeah, my first question from my list. For now, you have a good working library, and maybe from your perspective, from your current perspective, you can understand what, from your point of view, the best feature of Koin for now and the worst thing in Koin for now for you. I mean, what's the main feature which you're proud of, and what's the worst feature which you want to change if you had an opportunity? Maybe you will change it in future.
One of the best thing I like in Koin is that finally the by-view model has been adopted by Google. Then it's a kind of fun stuff to say that finally they let me continue. I believe the by-view models API, the standard API of Google Android, is kind of the same as I begin to try to write. Then it's something I kind of proud because I believe, or I hope, let's say, it's just perhaps inside me, but I believe there is something that went into to Google say, okay, finally, by-view model could be interesting to say, an interesting way to construct view model. And in the other way, I would say one of the hard time about the framework. At the beginning, the framework was not super used as now, and I could break API easily to understand how I can mutate some designs, some paradigms inside, to help me write things and to help me evolve make better API and help me make the change and not break everything for the users. But I would say, like, last year, I tried to kind of not force an upgrade, but the Kotlin multi-platform design forced me clearly to review many of the internals, and it took me a bit of time to understand how finally I could twist a bit some of the components and the idea to say, okay, this will become modular because I need this to be modular in multi-platform. I can't have this in this way, like threading or the lazy strategy that we have with all the by lazy expression in Kotlin native. we don't have the same default value, for example, and then you have to be sure that your design can continue to evolve without breaking things. And the first idea of Kotlin Koin multi-platform was not so great, and also I was a bit let's say the view model API and all the latest Android API was beginning to be a bit complex. Then it was a bit hard for me to give another solution, to give another view without breaking anything. And it's always a bit hard for the community to understand why finally, okay, there's a new major version, then this is hard change, and then we need to break things. And yeah, it's kind of hard choice, but with the only time I have, and with finally, it's you have to go straightforward sometime to try to push idea, because then I'm not like Spring Source or a company that is making money every day with that, and I would like to work on Koin every day and arrange things and help many people, but yeah, my job is not that, unfortunately, and try on my own free time to scan for community issues on GitHub to try to rank, and it's a bit hard on that, because Koin is reaching around 5 million download a year, and it became to be really a high volume of usage. Then the community needs answers, and I'm mostly alone with that. Then it's not always easy to have people to help me and to support the community. I believe this is the the hardest part of open source project, is that for the community you need to give back some help, or yeah, finally open source is has it, then you continue to help with that, or you try to help fix that. And this is also the good and the bad side of open source, I would say. But yeah, it's there is strong decision to take some time for the framework, and I try to find let's say the good level of breakings, and to try to continue change things, like for Jetpack Compose, to bring things for Jetpack Compose, or for example, I revamped the scope API that was clearly not in the good way at the beginning, and finally, over I think this is more than 1 year now, I'm refining the scope API, and I posted a blog article about the new scope API early this year, and it was with the help of Manuel Vincent from Google, and he helped me understand how finally he see the scope API in the scope concept through Dagger Hilt, and he helped me understand how I could push it to Koin, and I continue in that way. That means that I continue with my ideas, but also to catch up with with Dagger Hilt idea, because finally with Dagger Hilt, Google understood that they need clearly to simplify the daily life of developers, and all this kind of configuration about Dagger, and we don't want complex stuff. Then if Google has a good tool to provide, then you need to simplify everything for people then. And they are on the good way, I believe. And yeah.
Yeah, Hilt is pretty interesting as well. And yeah, I agree with you that the way how it works with scopes is pretty interesting. Yeah, I agree with you. But anyway, you have a little bit different approach, because Hilt and as well as Dagger use annotations, but your library doesn't. Yeah. You mentioned too, I think, one of the hottest theme in Android world which we have now. First of all is Jetpack Compose, and the second one is Kotlin multiplatform. And in our chat we have a question related to Kotlin multiplatform. So yeah, I will show you this question. Hi, is it possible to use Koin in Swift code when using Kotlin multi-platform? Where can I find example how to use Koin in KMM?
Yeah, it's perfectly possible, and you will write common code concerning your Kotlin side. Then you have your common Kotlin code, and you can have Koin modules inside. And then you can use them, and you can use those components into Swift. One of the best example I follow on the Kotlin multi-platform, because I can't do everything on my own, and I follow people that can dive more than me on the topics. And you can follow John already. I believe I can give you for the description in video after that some content, but
sure, yeah.
John has he made the people in space multi-platform example, and he's one of the highlights project example in JetBrains documentation, if you want to find it. And he made a very good a good usage of Koin, where he tried to extract repository, view models, and try to express them in Android, and then use those components also in Swift. And then people in space is a good example application to start, I believe.
Got it. Yeah. So all links I will pin on the top of the comments after the stream. So Arnaud will send me all links which we will mention here later. Yeah, and my question regarding to Koin multi-platform. What is the current status? And as I know, the current status is alpha version of Koin for multi-platform, right? And what do you think? Is it production ready solution or not?
The first version was made with TouchLab, and then the design was not completely okay for me, because as I was saying, I was looking for something more that was more ready to evolve with time, and especially because the threading and the model, the memory model could be in position to change. As you may know, Kotlin native threading model will change also. Then we have to be in position to say, okay, for example, where do we put the frozen code block? Where do we freeze components? Where do we call common stuff? I would say that for now it's not. I would say that the version is quite stable, but I need more feedback about the community platform side. And John has many examples about Kotlin multi-platform application, and he's using Koin in many examples. Then I believe it seems to work in quite stable way. After that, I don't have I don't work on multi-platform in my daily job. Then at BlaBlaCar, I'm working at BlaBlaCar in France. It's a carpooling company, and then we are still in let's say old-fashioned native application. Then for now, it's not the question about multi-platform, but then if we can have more feedback about people, I believe it will help to be sure that it's kind of more stable for production and be. But I believe there is many samples around that prove that finally it works. After that, from the Swift point of view, there is many subtleties from Kotlin language that are not super usable as is in Swift, and then it need works. It need I would say the iOS developer experience can be improved. more or less. And then yeah, there is room for improvement here, and you can begin to write your stuff with Koin, no problem. After that, yeah, if you fall into some edge cases, perhaps this is things that need to be fixed. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, just don't hesitate to send your feedback related to Koin version 3. Yeah, because it really improves the quality of this perfect, awesome library. Yeah. And not a perfect one for now, but anyway, production ready is for me. Yeah, pretty interesting question about Koin compiler. What would be the advantages for Koin compiler against Hilt? Since Koin compiler will use the code generation in compile time, would it be good for a big project or for the performance issues?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's one of the project I have opened just before summer. Is finally I was experimenting with the Kotlin compiler with the AeroKT and KPT to find a way to try to improve the Koin developer experience. And finally, the problem is that in Koin, when you decraft things, it's already, let's say, dynamic things. It's runtime. When you write a single and you open a block code, then it's already dynamic. It's not something that you describe like with annotation. And it's kind of hard to catch or intercept things. And the Koin compiler can offer just another way. It's not to replace, but just it's just another idea to say, okay, if we bring annotation for Koin, what we can do with that. And the idea is that finally it will help you avoid write any modules. You just annotate with our base single, and then it will declare a single for you and make all the bindings for you. It will write the definition for you and detect the bindings, and you can specify the bindings. You can annotate add qualifier. Then you can find, let's say, a way to write that can be more at scale for big application that dozen of module where you just write lots of lines. Finally, just annotate your components and you go quickly. Just annotate add view model, and then you have your view model, and etc. etc. The idea is that it just generates the module declaration for you in the most in the fastest way, and then it's almost instant code generation. And then I tried on many hundreds and thousands of components, then it's almost instant in terms of generation. Then you won't have the minutes of compilation that you have to wait. Just it's instant. You just write your stuff and you annotate, and then you have your definition that is written for you. Then it's easily debuggable because you understand what is generated. It's super simple, and there is almost nothing to write and generate because it takes the definition for you and you write it. And finally, it's super fast to load. I believe the last version of Koin 3.1.2 and more has something like 50% time increase. Then it's super important to understand. And finally, it will be super fast. And yeah, finally, you can write Koin at scale, and you can even you don't have to write modules anymore. You can we will able to scan everything, and if you want, you can gather. For example, you can say, okay, scan components of this package, and then bring in into this class module, and we will also have the possibility to write definitions into a class. But mainly, the idea is to say, okay, I can go super quickly instead of writing single open block and then write my stuff, I just say add single and that's it. And it's another way to, it's not to replace the core way of using Koin. It's more a way that can be scalable over all the platform, because KPT is multi-platform. And for now, the way to boost the experience of Koin is more about either kind of reflection. If, for example, there is a way to avoid writing definitions block when you define a component. For example, you say single of my presenter, and you just put the type of my presenter, and then you say single of type presenter, and just close the parenthesis, and you don't have block, and then it will be make introspection about your type, and that's it. But it just, let's say, good experience for JVM developers. And finally, it's using reflection, then not that good. Then finally, if I believe if you want to use the DSL, go for it and continue. And there is another way of using Koin that will come, and it will be more easier to use than even HILT, because it will be clearly less. It will need less annotation to make the same thing then, and you will have the same the same way of using Koin. Then it will be still easy. It's just the way of declaring it. You will be able to use annotations. Then things are going good in terms of development of the compiler, and the time of code generation is clearly super small. Then I don't want to fall back into complexity of generation and reinvent some kind of dagger behind the Koin. I don't want that. I just want to help about the experience of writing your dependencies in your application. And finally, it will be, I think, an interesting experience.
Yeah, sounds pretty interesting. Yeah, you mentioned that the compile time will not increase significantly. Yeah, because for now, yeah, it's pretty nice to hear, because for now, yeah, it's better to write this single modulus or modulus in separate file to decrease the amount of compile time, because it's kind of a pretty important thing when you're creating an app.
Exactly, yeah. And it should generate just one file per module, then it will be super small, super fast to understand. There is not much more about analytics. One thing that is interesting and that is super hard is all the API about verification and check modules, because it has been super hard to try to define something to help us verify dependency graph, whereas finally everything is dynamically defined. And finally, it's super hard to say, okay, I have this component, but finally I have an inject parameters that come here, and then you have several ways of having many dynamics behavior in Koin, and then it's super hard to say your graph should be that. And finally, the Koin compiler way of analyzing your components, then it will be entirely static. And then I believe it will open an easier way to verify graphs. Then we will be clearly in position to verify everything we are generating, because we will understand all the resolution that we are making, and then we can say, okay, this component exists or not, and then we can say, yeah, okay, your graph is okay. But graph verification is more a mental stuff of Android, because people on the Android development platform, they kind of need this safety belt, and I kind of not okay with that, because it's not that finally Dagger compiles that it's still working. I dive into many pitfalls with it where finally it's not working as you want. Then yeah, for me, I prefer yeah, I believe it's more a way to say either you fail fast and then you understand that you have to verify yourself your application, and I believe when you add something, then you run your application and you quickly see if there is something missing. But that's it, and it avoids me to to make a long time of compilation for everyone, and have hard time to configure my stuff. But it's different philosophy. I mean, like about code, about Dagger, and what people are expecting about the power of Dagger then behind that.
Yeah, I agree with you, because for now, as I know, Koin has a way to check graph using, for instance, continuous integration. Yeah, and you can run kind of a command in terminal and check your graph. So if you want it, but yeah, anyway, if you, for instance, add a new feature, you can easily just run your app, and you will have a described error where you can where something is missing or not. So yeah, I agree with you that in case if we will have increasing of compile time, yeah, I think it's mostly like minus than plus.
Exactly, yes. And if you look at the other ecosystem, I believe in all DI frameworks, I only know Dagger has require compile time verification. But
Yeah.
I may be wrong, but
Yeah, I think to addition to this question, I think Kotlin compile will be great for multi-module projects, since we don't need to set up a lot of things to use Koin per module. Yeah, I think kind of a good point to use this Koin compiler.
It will be easier with the Koin compiler, but you will still you will have multiple Gradle modules. Then you will have to let's say to have minimal module, but a Koin compiler, a module is just one line with one annotation, say scan component, and then you can scan everything in your application and in your module, and then you just forget that you finally you are configuring stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, the next question relates to Jetpack Compose. Yes, for now it's kind of we have a production ready solution. Yeah, for now Jetpack Compose is production ready, and we can easily move from XML approach to Jetpack Compose. And I think this approach is the future of Android development related to views and how we create them. I know that Koin supports Jetpack Compose now. What about future plans, and what do you want to add in future related to Jetpack Compose features? Any plans? Any suggestions?
For now, yes, I would like to. I believe it's quite stable, but we need to stay updated with what they develop, because I was developing with the early alpha version. It was breaking lots of time. Then I finally. Koin for Jetpack Compose is really a small thing, because it's just a way to access Koin container from your composable, and that's it. You just need to get your thing. One thing to notice is that the way that you use Koin is interesting. Is not finally a property with the delegate, as you could do in your activity environment. In Compose, you will have your Compose functions with arguments, and then the best way to do is one of the arguments is one of the components you want to inject, and then the default value that you want to use is then retrieved by Koin with a get or get view model. And why using a default value in function is because then if you want to test this composable outside of Koin, you don't need Koin. And then you are not linked to Koin API. Then it's just a default value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, got it.
In terms of perspective, I have some updates to check about navigation graph scope and how it relates about Compose world. there is many things to check and be sure that finally the container and the model follow clearly the Jetpack Compose model. And yeah, it's not a big thing. Integrating Koin in Compose is not a big thing, because finally you just write get or get model, and finally you get mostly everything. It will be more about navigation graph and scope to be sure that it's still okay to be used directly with Compose. Again, in all of those new topics, we need feedback, we need sample application. And the best thing to experiment is having a sandbox application with just the case that we want, and that help us illustrate what we want to develop, and then from here we can debug, we can clearly design the API we want, and then yes. This is why I begin to check with people on Slack if there is people having sample about a navigation graph, and then we can begin to bootstrap something, and then we can clearly check if all the API we want to check are working or not, and if there is some bug to reproduce, then we can reproduce them in a constant way, and then we can work on that. This is clearly super important to help us improve the framework.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, got it. Thank you for answer. Yeah, the next question. I have a question from chat related to real-world sample of multimodal project with Koin. You mentioned one project related from people in space. Do you have kind of something else related to multimodal project, or is it the same project?
Multimodule is not that. I believe in documentation you have some parts about multimodule, and then how you deal with multimodule. One thing to keep in mind about multimodule is that why do you want multimodule? Is it something that comes to complete new components? Is it a new feature then with the new components, and it's something that comes to complete the existing components, or is it something that want to replace? Then need to care about that. And in the last version that we are designing, we are reviewing the strategy of overload and overriding components about that. And it was a bit too fine grind in Koin, as you can say this component can be override or not, and this is can be override or not. And finally, looking at the background of Spring Framework that has the same problem, they finally says, okay, we keep things open. If you have a module that come with the same definition, you just overwrite it, you have a log, and yeah, this is finally up to you to check. And you can switch an option if you clearly want to reject any override, and be sure that you be sure to be explicit about override, and then you disable any override definition. Then it can be interesting. Then it's a complete on-off. You see that the last strategy about overriding in multi-modules is okay. Either you allow to override anything, either you disallow any override component. And it's more clear than having super fine-grained stuff, and it turns out to be super hard to resolve, and you fall in always in hard case to resolve, and then finally it's hard to also to understand in terms of mental model for people.
Yeah, I agree with you. And it's pretty hard to understand where did you get a mistake, because you have this giant amount of models. The next question is pretty interesting. So just imagine that you will start a new project and you want to add Koin, and if you go to open a site, the link related to Koin, you will have two versions of Koin, second version and the third version. As I know, you in future you wanna move everything to the third version, but for now, as I am an Android developer and I want to add Koin, which version should I use? Which version should I prefer? Both of them are stable, or the third one is more stable than the third one?
The third one is more stable and more recent. It has more all the patches that has been developed against the new core engine, and the new core engine is clearly faster and stronger in terms of resolution. The other stuff also is that the new core engine is let's say close for the internals. I mean, like until the Koin 2.x, 2.2, etc. There was many internal API that was still open, and the people were using it, and it's a bad thing to try to clearly. Yeah, it's a bad design. I mean, like to let other people having the end into your API. Then it was a bad pattern for us. Then it was a strong decision to say, okay, we need to close clearly all the internals API. And yeah, to sum up, if you want to start today, start with the 3 version because it has all the improvements. One thing I'm thinking is that for all people that are still in version 2, I need to see if I can backport all the patch from the version 3 to the version 2, and be sure that I can bring all the fixes, but I still don't know how much is hard to bring from 2 to 3. I begin to write some help, some support about migrating from 2 to 3 to say, okay, check that. From the remind, I believe in the one of the last version of Koin 2.2, I believe there was some heartbreakings because of here a try with a bad. It was a bad try about API design, and then it introduced too early some strong breakings, and then I understood that it was hard for people to follow. Then for me, the choice was to say, okay, if you are stuck and you can't really stay in Koin 2.16 or 2.21, something around that, and if you can upgrade to Koin 3, go to the 3.1. It clearly brings the latest fixes and improvement of the project. For now, I don't know. The problem is that it requires more and more time for all these projects as to backport all the core and the Android fixes to Android 2, continue to work on the other APIs, and continue to work for conferences, to make support, to make blog posts. Clearly, time is clearly flying.
Yeah. So for new project, just choose version 3 and everything will be good. Yeah.
Even if it's target multi-platform for you, it's completely transparent. As finally you just use Koin Android or Koin Core JVM, and that's it. If you use Koin Kato, it will be also completely transparent. And most of the time, it will be better to use the 3.1.
Got it. Yeah, the next question is pretty interesting as well. So Koin provides a kind of interesting feature related to, let's say, work manager, fragment factory, and so on. What about the future? What to add something new from Android world? Maybe, I don't know, related to, I don't know, navigation, or I don't know, maybe to, I don't know, some features related to Room, let's say, I don't know. So I know that you have also features related to Cater. It's mostly from Kotlin multi-platform, but anyway, maybe something from Android world. Any plans for this one?
Sorry, I didn't follow you entirely. Can you
Yeah.
say again?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so for now, we Koin support features related to, let's say, work manager, navigation, work manager, fragment factory, and so on. So Koin provides a new kind of API for support of this feature. Do you have some plans for something else related to Android, maybe for some libraries from Jetpack, or maybe from some libraries, I don't know, from I don't know, system methods, something like that?
You mean proposing other integration or something that help everything really?
Yeah, maybe you will add something for helping integrate easily with I don't know, with Room library, or maybe you will add something to integrate easily with, I don't know, what else. Yeah, we have something with work manager, I don't know, something like that.
It's interesting question, and the part I'm doing is with Spring Boot. I don't know if you know the Spring Boot project, but it's some people that finally took a Spring framework and bring configuration ready for you, and then you can clearly begin to work in a few lines on your application. And I still have this image in my mind to have something that finally you have some configuration ready for you, like HTTP client or something like that, or I don't know, other components. But for now, I'm more a follower behind the API, and it's already lots of work for me to adapt them and to bring other stuff. But yeah, for now, I believe more the improvement are yeah, as finally with the Android KTX, they bring already interesting things, and already Kotlin friendly API. It's yeah, in terms of Android API, I don't know where clearly can bring more things. It's I believe there is room for improvement for Ktor to help add more and more feature, or on the multi-platform to help the experience, or about the Kotlin compiler to help write things for people with less code. Then it's always in the mind, but clearly for the Android side, I believe it. In 2017, I was clearly in position to help bring the architecture components in just one keyword, and it was clearly a breaker in the moment. For now, yeah, it's quite hard to follow everything, and to be honest, I'm clearly confident to open more the team, to have more constant maintainer to help me for the community and all the topics, because there are many clearly hard topics, and I need more clearly more than ephemeral people that bring some help clearly, and it's hard to be there for Koin and to continue to push the project. I mean, like after more than 4 years now, then it's clearly super interesting, because it brings me super interesting design and ideas and way to explore the language. But clearly, yeah, need to continue and open the team to more maintainers to help me on all the big topics like multi-platform, like helping Android, because already on the core side, like Koin compiler, it's super interesting. Then you can't have you can't have all the time everywhere. Then we all have on 24 hours a day. We need to make priority then, and yeah, the hardest part is finally catch up with the community, where finally for me it's hard to catch up all the message, because when I come back from holidays, for example, there's hundreds of message and issues. Say, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to see if you need to see if it's a problem of configuration of people, a problem of usage, is it really a problem for Koin, of internals, or where does it come from, etc., etc. This is why it's always super important to have a sample project that help reproduce the case for us, and then we have something where we can work, and then we can clearly directly debug on that and fix.
Got it. Question related to usage of Koin. By default, scope is connected to root scope by default. If you want to make scope linked to with one non-root scope, you need to remove root scope from links and then add another. Can it be made easier?
For now, I would say that I didn't have the use case until now. If there is a real need behind that, perhaps we could have a scope that is not linked by default to root. But yes, for now the API don't allow you to make something that is out of that is disconnected from the root, because finally you have your root container where by default you declare everything and you can resolve everything, and then when you have a scope, you have a subspace where you begin to declare things where finally you just want to resolve things inside this scope, this space, and also you want to fall back on the root root scope. And if you don't want to fall back on root scope, then yeah, you have to remove the link, because the scope has links to other scope. Then you can remove the scope link. But for now, by hand, yes.
Yeah, no. I don't know with the use case as well. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, what is the use case of it? Yeah, go further, and let's move to the interesting question related to the future of Koin. Yeah, what is the future of Koin? What's happening with the current issues that are open in GitHub, and how often will it get updates? You mentioned that, yeah, you don't have enough. Sometimes you don't have enough time for fixing all of them, and yeah, you mentioned that your Koin is not your primary job, just like a open source pet project, let's say. Yeah, yeah. And my question, in addition to this question, I want to add, what is maybe far future related to Koin, maybe about the version 4 or 5? I don't know. Maybe you have some ideas of what will be the future of Koin, let's say in nearest 3 years. Yeah, but let's start from this question.
Don't know if it's okay.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, I can hear you well. Everything is nice.
Is it okay? I believe I lost a bit the connection.
Yeah, a little some phrases, but yeah, there? Everything is nice. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Qu'est-ce qui se passe? Putain de sa mère.
Small technical issues.
I'm back now.
Yeah. Some small technical issues. In just 1 minute.
Trying to get back. Oh yeah. The fun stuff, remote internet thing. Yeah, sorry, really sorry.
Yeah, everything is nice. Yeah, you're here.
I'm back. Just one word, about the issues. I will try to check, let's say at least every 2 weeks or monthly, all the stuff. But finally, if you don't see any labels on your issues, perhaps there is something. At least there is two things. There's either issues that are too old, or that clearly are in old version. Then first try I would say try to upgrade and see if everything is okay. And in case where we have a problem with the internals and we need a fix, clearly we need to identify either it's Android API usage or not, etc., etc. But yeah, I need time, and I believe this year I will open space for more people to help me for the community. But this is the hard part of the open source project, is that my job does not pay me for that. Then it's on my free time. And for Koin in the future, I would say that for now, the two perspectives are multi-platform being more friendly for the multi-platform, and even more, let's say, for example, Swift. I don't know if from where we could take the solution if it's a little part of Swift framework and then with a bridge with Kotlin multi-platform. I don't know, but there is a real interest in. I don't know if there's lots of usage or not, etc., etc. But clearly, as I was saying, the native development experience need to be improved and sharper. And Koin compiler, we'll see if it's working or not. We'll see how finally Jetpack Compose is still how it's still interesting to use Koin in Jetpack Compose, but I believe it's still interesting. Jetpack Compose just get rid of view model, perhaps, or perhaps not, but
we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see how the ecosystem is evolving, and yeah, there is many interesting stuff to do. Like also, Ktor ecosystem is super interesting, but I would need clearly lots of time to bring interesting DI stuff for Ktor. But yeah, it's a full-time job then. And
Yeah.
I would say after that, it's more about feedback and use cases. Like if you think there is something interesting that would be integrated in Koin, then we can freely discuss on Slack, the Kotlin Slack, or open an issue and try to prototype something or some kind of code snippet to say, okay, it should look like something like that, and then we can prototype and how this API look like and what we want to do. And yeah, everything is yeah, we can imagine many things, but yeah, for now I would say like catch up with the big the big Android APIs and multi-platform. We see what bring Koin compiler. I mean, like it's not a way to replace the Koin DSL that is super interesting and it goes super fast, but it's complementary, I believe. Yeah, you just, it's another way to write things, and it's another way to add Koin for you. Then I believe it can be a good experience.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, there is already lots to do.
Yeah, lots of things to complete. Yeah, thanks for your answers. I think it was pretty interesting discussion regarding to current status of Koin and a little bit of future of Koin. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for your Arnaud for everything. It was pretty interesting to discuss. Thanks your guys for your questions, for your time that you spent this time with us. Yeah, man. Arnaud, thank you so much, and subscribe on this YouTube channel. And yeah, we will provide all links which we will mention here later on the first message, on the first comment. Yeah, and thanks, and I think that's it. See you on the next online Q&A session and different streams. Thank you. Bye-bye.